Welcome back to the Real Housewives of Way Hockey podcast, where we talk about all the drama that's going on in the NHL this week. Lots of coaching issues, lots of drama, lots of stuff being kicked up around the league from all sorts of guys. But we'll a little bit later things off as we do every week with our stars of the week. Nick, you want to start us off? Oh, before we actually get there, we only have two of us. If you didn't notice, we're missing two guys again. It's okay. Nick and I are here. We're gonna run the show. We got this. Nick, start us off. Give me your star.
Your two favorites. All right, my star of the week. A little bit out of left field here, but I'm gonna put some respect on his name here. Brett Connolly from the Florida Panthers. Florida's been scoring a lot lately, and so is he. He had 4 goals in his last 4 games, 1 assist on top of that. Only one of those was power play. He led them in even strength goals over this past week. He had back-to-back 2-point nights, and just more impressive to me, he gets about 14.5 to 15 minutes of ice per night on the third line with Brian Boyle and Vinny Trocheck. Not exactly the offensive superstars you're thinking of when you hear Florida Panthers. Boys like Barkov, Huberdeau, Keefe,
forget them.
Yandel. And just a week with an 80% shooting percentage is that's good in my books. So Brett Connolly, what a beauty.
The in the net.
He's been bouncing around team to team, and now he's bouncing around putting pucks in net.
Beauty, love it. My guy, hell of a week. He, I think it was Tuesday, they played the Pens, and he kickstarted the comeback, 2-goal comeback late in the third, I believe they made the comeback. He scored the goal, put them down 2, and then goes into OT, scores the OT winner in that game. Not a big deal. Thursday against the Pens, they're up. 1 OT winner in the week. Thursday against the Pens, they go in. They blow a bit of a lead themselves, but he did have a goal in that one. Nice power play goal for the boys. Not big deal. They send it to OT. Homeboy gets another OT winner. There's 4 points. He had another 4 goals, and an assist. Not bad. He played a third game. Forgot to show up for that one. The Islanders finally lost the game. But Brock Nelson, that's my star of the week. How are you?
2 OT winners. You can't hate that. In a week.
No.
I'd take 2 OT winners in my career.
Yep. He's got 2 in the same week. Back-to-back nights. Back-to-back games. Sorry, not back-to-back nights. Same team. Do you want to hit Max?
Sure. Macker took Teuvo Teravainen this week. A little bit biased. Used to play for the Hawks. Shocker. But it's a good pick. I wrote about him in the most underrated, underappreciated article we did a few weeks back. Teuvo had a good week, 4 games. He had 2 goals, 5 assists for 7 points. All 5 of them were primary assists, and 2 of them were on game-winning goals. He had a point in every game this week. He had a shorty. He had a peeper goal. Good week. One of the sneaky lines. Like him, Aho, and Svechnikov is one of the best lines in hockey, in my opinion. That's bold.
Not helping me win any money tonight, though. So that's thanks,
you
boys.
Never do. So, man, I know.
Just continuing the trend. Yeah.
Yeah, I know he picked Teuvo, but just that whole line, man. Like Svechnikov is so good. He's going to be a top 15 player in the NHL in a couple years.
Yep, I wouldn't even doubt it.
Yeah, Teuvo Teravainen.
Incredible, doing great things for Carolina. I got Brandon's, I guess, because I gave Brandon a fair amount of shit for his pick. I didn't like it. You guys liked it. I just thought maybe it wasn't the right pick. This week, I don't know if Brandon was just trying to hit me a little bit with it, but he went with the top scorer of the week, which makes sense. And it's a man that's near and dear to my heart because I resonate with everything he does. He had, let's go here. Yeah, well, maybe not the licking people's faces part, but he's a rat. He scored 3 goals, 4 assists, 7 points, avoided a suspension with a hit on, I don't even remember who it was from the Wild, went +6, 3 primary assists. He good. Brad Marchand. I've called Brad Marchand my spirit animal for like the past 3 years. Just like the height of his like ratness, because like I resonate with everything he does, like in every sport I play. Like I'm a piece of shit, but I'll go out there and I'll prove it just for fun. And that's what he does, man. Like he does the stupidest shit, but like the guy had 7 points this week. He's been on fire all week or all year. He's unreal. I hate you hate him if he's not on your team, but if he's on your team, you love that guy.
Got his 600th career point the other night when they blew up the Habs. We'll address
We'll
that
get
later.
to them, but we will start with a real team first. The Toronto Maple Leafs. They look good. Ooh, this is our first podcast. Sheldon Keefe been hired, I believe. I don't think they didn't play any games before the last one. And all three of them, they just look so much better than they did before. And possession's better. They're getting less high danger shots against. They're getting more high danger shots. They're good.
There's about 5 minutes left in the third period
so
tonight.
Far? Yep.
And they have 51 shots already. That's not shot attempts. Shot attempts are in the mid-60s.
That's shots.
That's shots.
Oh God, I know they outshot Detroit 21-5 in the second period alone.
That's good. That's good.
Hey, how are you? That's not bad. What do you think of their game with under Keefe so far?
I like it, and I think it's as we said, and as we all had in our minds, in theory, it's playing to their strengths. Like, you're seeing guys like not even just the big guys like Matthews, who somehow doesn't have a point in a 6-1 lead or 6-0 lead right now, so shows you our depth right there. But guys like Nylander, Timashov, like the whole way down, every winger on every line is holding onto the puck more, and you can just see it. It's creating better chances. They're making more skilled plays, might not be the right word for it, but they're just making better plays.
Yeah.
They're not
smarter plays in a sense.
They're still playing quick. They have a quick team, but they're not playing quick hockey where you just fire it up, stretch pass, dump it in, whatever you want to do. Like, it's not quick, like bang, 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 get rid of it. It's quick as in they're playing fast because they're skating fast, controlling the puck.
It's 6-6 in the Penguins game, by the way. We had this conversation before the podcast. Nick kind of jinxed the hell out of the Nucks.
It was 6-3.
We're up. He just got it on the money line, and that's not looking pretty anymore. Anyways, back to the Leafs. On your point there was a play I saw a clip of on Twitter. It was Jason Spezza, and normally under Babcock, it was one of these things where he got pressed on the sideboards towards the blue line, and instead of just turning and firing in or something like that, he took off behind the blue line, pulled everyone offside, but he brought it back to their end, got a line change, reset the whole thing, never lost possession of the puck. It's something you didn't see under Babcock. Under Babcock, it was like, sorry, you chip it back in, and when you possession back to them, it's like, no, we want the puck, and exactly. I love it. It's a more fun way to play. It's helping guys like Tyson Barrie because
take it back to Jason Spezza for a sec. Jason Spezza, based off Money Puck stats, has the 5th highest on ice expected goals for in comparison to their team. So you know how expected goals for is calculated.
Gross.
He's 16.4% above the Leafs average. That's the 5th highest of any player in the NHL, not just on the Leafs, in the NHL.
I mean, healthy scratch, Jason is that high up? Come on.
Yep.
We never foresaw that, did we? Never once did we mention Spezza should be in the lineup.
Did he used to be good or something?
I don't know. Was he ever good at offense? I don't know. Was
he ever
a real
a baby model when he was little? Huh.
He's good. The rest of the team's good. Tyson Barrie, fucking incredible under Sheldon Keefe, and scored again tonight, which makes him the first Leafs defenseman to score in 3 straight games since Thomas Caberlet in 2006. Which, like, if you're a Leaf fan, you remember Thomas Caberlet for his offensive output, and it was ridiculous. Never shot the puck for some stupid reason, but like to be in that category in Leaf
how did he score 3 goals in a row?
I don't know. To be honest, I don't know how he put. Yeah, he tried to pass it and it like went off a defender and in the net or something. Because there's no way he took 3 shots. He took shots in 3 straight games. It's not a thing. Barrie looks great, and he's thriving under that Sheldon Keefe offense. He's finally jumping up in the play, which is something we rarely saw in Babcock. He had that first goal. It wasn't so much of the Barrie jumping up in the play, but then you get him on the power play and that for his second goal, and he jumps up and he's got that one-timer right there. Bang, how are you? It just looks incredible.
I'd say that the first one even is, because the whole key to the D jumping into the play, it's not necessarily the D skating up the ice. Everybody's like, oh, the D jumping up, they carry it out. It's not.
No.
What happens is, under Keefe's system, if you want to say, they keep the third forward high when they're in the zone, which allows the 2D on either side. As soon as the puck goes around the board, they're popping up because you have that third forward high. And it's such a basic strategy. Everybody knows a 1-2-2 or a 2-1-2, whatever. Keep the third guy high, whatever you want. But it's just he keeps them so high. Like sometimes the third forward's above the 2D standing on the blue line. And it just allows them to rotate. It's almost like a power play when you have the umbrella.
Yeah.
And it allows you to activate your D on both sides, and the forward can still jump in and create offense. Like, they're not stopping him from doing that. But it's such a refreshing thing to see Barrie, Riley, even Dermott and Hall busting down the half boards, keeping pucks in, and making plays off the half boards instead of just trying to hold it in at the blue line, and then they come down on a 2-on-1.
Low percentage shot from the blue line and doing all that stuff too, which is great. I love it. I'm glad to see. I mean, he's going to end up making a hell of a lot more money now, which sucks. But I love seeing him succeed.
Yeah, but now he's going to want to stay.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, look. Thank you. I mean, I'd love to see him stay. I highly doubt they can afford that. But
there's a will.
Incredible. I'm just going to appreciate the fact that don't even do it. No, I'm just going to appreciate the fact that Tyson Barrie's a Leaf for 2019, 2020. And we'll watch, and hopefully they make a playoff run. They're looking a hell of a lot better than they did before. So another D-man I'm starting to like a little more. Cody Ceci. I don't know what your feelings are on him yet. He played 26 minutes in Sheldon Keefe's second the head coach. The big story was at the end when he makes that because he's playing 26 minutes.
No, because Keefe likes him.
Yeah. No, I still don't agree with him playing 26 minutes a night. I just think if you take, I don't know if I've said this on the podcast, but if you take Cody Ceci and you play him 16 minutes, Cody Ceci's a good defenseman. He's a good third pairing defenseman, and he's shown it at times. It's just when you extend him out into a first pairing role and you give him 26 minutes a night, he's gonna make those bonehead mistakes. He's the Jake Gardiner without the offensive upside, essentially, because he does stupid things, and by putting him out there for that many minutes, you're giving him more of a chance to make those mistakes. I think he looks good right now under Keefe's system because he hasn't made those mistakes and he's had an easier role, I think.
I agree, but I don't, because to me it's not his offensive mistakes, like people point those out, and it's not even like his systematic mistakes. It's the fact that he just makes dumb plays in front of the net. Yep. He doesn't cover guys. He doesn't realize there's a guy going back door. He doesn't realize when it's a 2-on-1 that he has to swing, like anything like that. It's just simple hockey plays that anybody at that level should absolutely understand. He does it to himself. I don't think he's horrible. I think he's far better than people in Ottawa thought. Mm-hmm. And again, that was because he was getting overplayed.
I don't think he should
be. Sure. But
I think that's a perfect role for Cody Ceci, and I think on a good team, Cody Ceci could be your third pairing guy.
Yeah, I would agree, but the fact of the matter is that we're paying him far too much for that, and we're playing him far too much for that.
Yeah. Penguins are up 7-6, by the way. Thanks, Thatcher. Appreciate it, buddy. That sucks, though, because Markstrom went down today. He was sick. That's Demko's back-to-back, I think.
Texted that he cashed out when the Canucks were up 4-2 because he had the puck line.
Nice. That's rough. I'm sorry, Nick. We're not gonna talk about the Canucks today, so I mean I might as well mention their 5-on-5 place on Mass, eh?
Yeah, but their power play is disgusting.
Yeah, they've been banking on their power play goals a lot, and 5-on-5, it's like they don't get shots; they're getting shot at. It's just not pretty. But we'll expand on that.
Neutral zone team.
We'll expand on them on another podcast because there's a lot to dissect with that team. But we have a lot going on here. Where was I? Oh, one of the bigger stories from last week was the Doug Armstrong, from the GM of the St. Louis Blues. Was he in Toronto or is it in Colorado?
They weren't in Toronto.
Either way, All right. So was it Colorado? Let's just go with Colorado for argument's sake. He was watching the Leaf. He was watching the Leaf game essentially, and apparently he has interest in a lot of Leafs, and there's been calls on Leaf players, I believe. So it sparked a lot of debate, and everyone's first thought for some reason was, let's go get Petro. And I'm like, okay, I get that, but what the hell would make the Blues sellers at this point?
Yeah, they don't think they can re-sign him.
But not the point. You're first in the West right now, are they not?
Yeah, but for a guy like that, you're getting a top prospect and a roster player.
Then you're not looking at the Leafs, are you?
No, they shouldn't be. No.
So that's what I mean. Like, I think the play there isn't Petro, and I don't think it's Parayko either. Like, people are going at probably an option that the Blues have that we could use, but I think people need to relax on the Alex Pietrangelo front. The big thing I saw
to relax on the whole GM at a game means somebody big is getting traded. A GM can go to a game. That's his job, is watching hockey, evaluating players.
Yeah.
His scouts might just be torn on whether Nylander's good or not, and they have no interest in trading him, but he's like, hey, I'm around. I'm going to go see if Nylander's good at hockey or not.
Yep.
It doesn't mean they're trading their cup-winning captain.
No. That was the thing. Like, I think the big thing there was I'm pretty sure the rumor was that he was making calls on guys in Toronto, which, like, he was there and he was interested. Like, actually put in interest with Dubas. But it's one of those things that they're not trading their captain, their best right-handed defenseman, in a year where they're still sitting first in the West. Like, it's not like this team is in a rebuild year where they're just trying to get assets. Like, they could win a cup again this year, and I probably wouldn't bat an eye. Like, that team is built for the playoffs, and they're really good, and their defense is incredible. You're not going to take from the top of that. You'll take from the middle of it and try and increase your forward depth a little bit, sure. But you're not getting rid of a guy like Petro or Parayko or anyone of that matter. Like, you're going for a bit.
I'd say Parayko's even more untouchable than Pietrangelo. Yeah. And I don't think there's a chance in hell that we're getting Pietrangelo.
No. Everyone's big trade, too, was the Liljegren for Pietrangelo. And I'm like, that doesn't get it done. Like, it's got to be plus. And you don't have draft picks to do that right now. You don't have a first for this year.
There's minimum a second going the other way, too.
Yep.
Bare minimum, and then we don't have a pick till the third round.
Sandin are your prospect pool. Like, there's not a lot in the forward depth apart from, like, Nick Robertson, Jeremy Bracco. Like, there's not a lot that you're like, look at our top forward prospects that we can throw in with this. It's just kind of like you have Liljegren, Sandin, and then a couple tiers lower you have Bracco, Robertson, and then it's just like guys in the AHL make it up to the NHL, but they're not guys that you're like, let's trade our best defenseman for.
One thing, just this is a little bit off topic, I guess, but to see if we're going to make a move at a deadline, I'd be curious if we'd throw in a goalie prospect. Ian Scott torched the WHL last year.
Yep.
And he hasn't played yet this year. He's been injured. They've been flying him back and forth training in Newfoundland and with the Marlies. He hasn't played yet this year. Joseph Woll is probably going to be a starter at the NHL level. Yeah. I'd say at minimum 80-85% chance. Like, this guy is good. Like, he's a top goalie prospect.
His college numbers are something special, I'm pretty sure.
And people were mad. I think he has a .902 save percentage this year with the Marlies. And people are like, oh, that's not good. Look at the team in front of him. He's a first-year pro. He looks like a goalie and a half in there. He's huge. He plays an aggressive kind of hybrid style, almost like Fleury. I'm not going to say he's that good because that's dumb. Nobody's that good. But a Fleury style, I'd say. And the difference is he's 6'4". Like, he's a good goalie prospect, man.
He's only 21 years old, too. Like, you're coming into the AHL against, like, real pros. Like, the AHL's not something to shake a stick at. Like, there's some guys there that are better than college hockey players. And
all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, you're coming in there as a 21-year-old, and it's going to be tough for a little bit. You still got a 902. Like, I can't shake a stick at a 902. He's 3.09 goals against. He had a 919 last year at Boston College with a 241 goals against average. Like, guy's good. Yeah. I mean, he's going to be a starter in this league.
In the way that you give up a lot of shots. It's not strong systematically compared to the NHL and the AHL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I mean, I could see, because you don't need them both, right? And right now they're both maybe the peak of their value in a sense, unless one of them becomes the goalie that they're supposed to.
I would assume
but right now
is close to the peak.
Yeah, exactly. So you get a guy like Scott. Some team's going to look at that and be like, yeah, you know what? We need a goalie of the future. Like maybe Vegas is a team that could be like, yeah, we have Fleury now, but in
Vegas
the
is
future,
weird.
what is there?
They
I
have
mean,
Subban, they have Oscar Dansk,
yeah,
they have Sparks, they
yeah,
had Picard. Like it's just a revolving door of
yeah,
guys who were supposed to be NHL goalies that just
yep,
haven't panned out.
yeah. They have Bradford boy Jordan Coy there. I know that one. Playing out of Sarnia this year, I believe. I think he was
Yeah,
the OHL back in the prospects
back
game.
up. Yep,
Could be wrong.
he got traded there
Was
from
he?
London.
Yeah. Either way, he's there. I mean, they have depth, but like it wouldn't hurt. I mean, a guy like Ian Scott's not going to hurt your depth situation if you need a goalie. I don't know what he brings back. Though. Like,
No, I
can
know,
he
but
bring?
that's a bigger piece than some of our middling forward
Yeah.
prospects. Like,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. That's fair. There's more value in that
Pittsburgh won
than
their
there
puck
is
line, by the way.
to won the puck line. Oh, buddy, tough night. Sorry.
Ah, Flyers won, Leafs won. We're all
Perfect.
green.
Flyers. We can transition that a little bit. Sticking with the trade conversation
I
and the
didn't even
Flyers,
mean to do that.
there's
Look
been a
at me go.
lot. That was not bad, eh? There's been a lot of talk on Shayne Gostisbehere, and I don't know if there's a lot of like media talk on it, but a lot of people want to see him come to the Leafs.
He's not good.
I don't know. He what his name's good because he was incredible that first year he had,
He's not
but
good.
he's not Shayne Gostisbehere anymore, man.
He's been a health
He
bomb 3 games in a row behind
yeah.
guys like Philip Myers, who played, 2 years in the AHL and didn't do great, behind Sanheim, behind Niskanen, behind
They don't
Provorov,
have
like
it.
all these guys.
Philly's a good team, but they don't have a very deep defense, and
I
Goss is
like them
Spears
in a
playing behind.
prospect sense, and
Yeah,
Goss Despaire's
other
behind them.
but their NHL team right now, yeah, their
Oh, no, that's
NHL
what I mean. Like,
team, yeah, their
I'd say
NHL
three
team
of their
defense.
D could be top three in the AHL, and you'd be like, wow, look at these prospects. But they're up
Yeah,
there, and they're not doing great, and
ahead
Goss
of
is behind them.
Goss is Spears, and like I understand he could be good offensively, but like you thinking about a lot of the guys we have right now. I don't think bringing
Not
in
what
Goss
you
Spears is going to
need.
help.
Yeah, not what you
Hockey
need.
it's fun, and it was a lot of fun for Mike Commodore. If you don't if you don't follow Mike Commodore, if you don't follow what not even him on social media, but if you don't follow Mike Commodore the person in interviews that he does, Commodore does not like it's not a secret. He's done some shitty things to him in his career, and like I can understand where a bit of the hatred comes from. Mike Commodore went on a bit of a run. The day after, day of Mike Babcock's firing, and then like the next 3 days after,
Yeah.
and he made some questionable tweets, and I get it. I mean, sure, but Leafs Twitter went off on this guy, and
Yeah.
I think Leafs Twitter, man, they need to relax a little bit. Like I understand what Commodore's doing probably isn't the healthiest thing, but you got to understand, like this is just think of the person you hate the most in life. This is that for Mike Commodore. What Mike Babcock did to Mike Commodore is not to the level of some other guys we're going to talk to down the list, but it's to a point where it's like it ruined the back half of his career, and he got his career off to a shit start in
Anaheim.
Anaheim, I believe. Yeah, in Anaheim, and like this guy, he hates him. And if you were to see the person you hate the most get canned, sure, you'd probably be that boisterous too. Like he goes on interviews, and like his whole shtick for years has been him ripping on Babcock. This is nothing new, and it makes him money. He still gets appearances and he does stuff. Like he's gonna continue to do it. Exactly. Like he's gonna go out there and he's gonna say things about Babcock. Maybe relax. He doesn't have that big of a problem. Like he knows what's going on. He knows that it gets him in the media and it gets him on shows like Chicklets where he gets to talk numerous times. I think people just need to relax, man. Let him do his thing. It's his guy. What are you gonna do? You got anything on it?
Yeah. I mean, did any Leafs fan know who Mike Commodore was before all the Babcock stuff? Probably not. I mean, I did because he had a big old red afro back in the day, NHL
Yeah.
06.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, everybody's just got to relax. And like, there was that picture he posted of Babcock packing his truck and his car. using, I don't know, I think it was their apartment or whatever, and people are like, oh, this guy's stalking him. Like, he didn't take that picture. He doesn't live in Toronto.
He's not even in Toronto.
Like, come on.
Like, relax.
Figure it out.
Like, take a joke.
I think both sides could relax a bit.
Sure, sure. Like, maybe you didn't need to make 9 tweets about Babcock getting fired, all of the similar manner. Sure. It's probably not the healthiest thing to do. You know what? Leave Twitter. You're right on that. But, like, there's nothing wrong with Mike Commodore. He's not a bad guy. Just, he's an okay guy. From all I've heard from, like, other NHLers, well, I mean,
he's a better guy than Mike Babcock.
Yeah, that extended into the Mark Fraser tweet, right? So Mark Fraser was kind of sticking up for Commodore in the sense. I don't have the tweet on offhand, but basically he just said, I think it was just the one, but either way, he was basically just saying, like, a lot of people have this similar opinion about Babcock, like he's not a good guy, blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of rich coming from Mark Fraser because Fraser never played for him. But, like, he's not wrong, and there's other guys out there that really don't like Babcock. So, I mean, if this is Mike Commodore's...
At the same time, that's why Fraser wasn't afraid to voice it.
Yeah, because he doesn't...
He didn't have this experience. He's like, listen, I'm not naming any names. I'm not pointing any fingers. I'm not saying it was me. Everybody I've talked to has had a problem with him.
Yeah, that's true. He's not saying this is my opinion because this is what I've seen. This is what I've heard from other guys is basically what he's saying. Yep. Which, gives him the right a little bit. That's... yeah. Where are we at? Oh, one final piece of Leaf information before we get into the rest of the league. Kerfoot, Alex Kerfoot, sorry, was suspended 2 games.
He doesn't like Alex. He prefers Alexander.
Alexander, sorry, I knew that too, and I just as soon as I said it,
that was so funny to me.
Yeah,
normally weird. it's like weird names that people can't pronounce, but he's like, no, it's Alexander.
Yeah. Which is weird.
Do you remember that time that Jacob Slavin became a star and everybody thought he was like from Finland and his name was Jakob Slavin because it's spelt weird? And he's like, I'm from Minnesota.
Yeah, Jakob
Slavin.
That's unreal. So he got suspended 2 games for his hit on Eric Johnson, right? Okay. I think it's fair, but the problem here was that I'll just kind of use this to transition a little bit. Robert Bortuzo got suspended 4 games for his cross-check on Victor Arvidsson. A lot of people are comparing the two, which I hate.
I hate it, and here's the comparison I'd give is the Marchand one. A guy who has a reputation, doesn't get a fine, doesn't get a hearing, doesn't get a penalty, doesn't get a suspension. Marchand's was just as bad. It was on an unexpected player because he didn't have the puck, and it was in the exact same spot,
at least it was
exact
a puck
same shove in the back.
The only thing that was different with the Kerfoot one was that it was higher speed and it just looked a lot worse than the Marchand one.
Listen, Kerfoot's taken a lot of
I think they both
penalties.
deserve. Yeah,
Kerfoot's taken a lot of unnecessary penalties this year. This was another one. I agree with giving him a game because it's the type of dangerous play that you're trying to get out of the game. I think 2 games, sure, whatever. Yeah. It's telling them, hey, you don't do this. I just have a problem with
it's a play they've
everything.
Sorry, it's a play they've been trying to get rid of for a long time, right? Is that play near the goal line that like pushing and shoving before you get to the puck. So I mean, I don't hate 2 games for him. I do think Marchand should have also got 2 games. Yeah. And
what's the difference?
Considering
I
he's
don't
a repeat defender.
I
don't get that argument you can't have, and I've seen it all over the place, is that, well, Bortuzo got 4, there's no way Kerfoot should be this bad. It's like, no. The problem here isn't that Kerfoot shouldn't be this bad. It's that Bortuzo should be a hell of a lot worse.
Bortuzo should have been double-digit games at a bare minimum. Yep. That was ridiculous.
Yep.
He's not a good guy.
There's no need for that. No.
He did the same thing to Brock Nelson last year. Last year. Didn't get anything.
Yep. No.
Okay, the first one, unfortunate that he went into the net. It was a hard cross-check. He got his 2 minutes, whatever. It was just unfortunate that he hit his head off the crossbar, went in the net.
Yeah, just
then
a shitty
he
spot.
Turns, looks at the ref, puts his arms up. Arvidsson comes out of the net, and he goes straight down as hard as he can on the spine. You know what you're doing there.
Yeah.
There's no shoulder pads there.
The most exposed part of your body.
He knows what he's doing. Yeah. That is, by the book, that is intent to injure, and they give that 4 games. Yeah. 4 games. That's a joke. Arvidsson's out 6 weeks with a spinal injury.
Yeah.
And he gets 4 games.
I hate it. It should easily, especially considering he's a repeat offender, and he's done this before. It's not even like he's done like other things. He's literally done this before, and you see that it's out of frustration and that he just fires a cross check in the back of Arvidsson, you got to be more than 4 on that. Like, it's brutal. It's just the only thing is like you can't look at that and be like, well, if that's their decision on Bortuzo, then their decision on Kerfoot. It's like, no, Kerfoot's suspension's right. The problem is that this one's completely wrong.
The whole thing that people just argue precedence. Oh, this is that. Oh, precedence. But the precedence is within like-minded, similar plays.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the last vicious cross-check straight down on somebody's spine was, but Kerfoot's makes sense. You can't compare the two. It's apples to oranges.
No.
If an orange gets 5 games, another orange should get 5 games.
Yep. Exactly. Yep. That's an interesting way to put it. The good orange is getting 5 games. You gotta hate those. Yeah. I don't know, man. It sucks. It's a shit suspension. I feel real bad for Arvidsson. Everything going through.
The problem that people have is just the inconsistency with the Department of Player Safety, and I'm completely with it. Like, we have no idea what any suspension is going to be at any given point. We'll see 2 tweets from like 2 big analysts. Like, I think Ray Ferraro said minimum 8. And he's like, I have no problem with double digits. That makes sense. But then you see like other analysts, they're like, no, game or 2, it was just a cross check. Just a cross check. Hello.
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's some people on Twitter, they're like, oh, that shouldn't even be a suspension. It's hockey. I'm like, okay, whoa.
All right, you like, bend over. I'll give you one of those and tell me what you think.
Like, we both played hockey. I don't want to cross-check in the spine unwarranted without the puck. Not even
either.
No, man.
That's
like
intent to injure.
Even full rage mode red mist comes over my eyes. I'm not throwing a cross check in the back of somebody's spine at the lower half. Like, no, man. Like that's just ruthless. Yeah. I'm a Todd Bertuzzi. Drop him to the ice and say, see you later type thing. Too soon. It's been over a decade. One more suspension. I don't know if you saw the hit. I have, but Eric Cernak was suspended 2 games for his elbow on Rasmus Dahlin. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Was it bad?
Flying elbow. RKO.
Dahlin, I believe Dahlin's out.
Out with a concussion. Yeah. I mean, here's my
thing. So it
thing.
Makes sense.
He was a full 2 strides in front of him.
I'll watch it while
Cernak
you talk.
took 1 stride and throws the elbow up. Nice little WWE elbow out there. He hits him hard enough in the face that his visor goes up and his helmet comes off. If your elbow is above your shoulder and you knock another guy's helmet off, it's an elbow.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah.
It's not good.
See, the thing, too, is it's not even really a high-speed play, and the fact that he's hitting him that hard with an elbow, that's... Like, if you haven't seen it, look it up, because he doesn't come across the middle quickly, and he still puts enough force into it that it does jar his head back.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you give him more than 2 for that?
Yes. This is the whole inconsistency thing again. Sure, Kerfoot's play is dangerous. It could have ended very badly. It didn't.
Yep.
This one by Cernak did end badly. We're trying to get rid of headshots. We're trying to get rid of CTE, head trauma, all of that. That's such a topic of discussion. Yet we're just giving out 2 games for a flying elbow to one of your star of the league's heads.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just
if you're George Peros, 4 situations right here. You have Marchand, Kerfoot, Bortuzo, Cernak. Give me numbers for all 4.
1-1, 4-10.
4 being Cernak. Makes sense. All right, new situation. You're Brad Freeland, and your coach is Bill Peters. What do you do now? Yeah, so if you live under a rock, you missed the Bill Peters. No.
He doesn't play. He doesn't coach another game. Just before you start everything.
So
he doesn't coach for Calgary.
Yeah. If you don't know, Bill Peters has been caught up in a wild situation the last 2 days. So it started with an Akeem Eliu tweet that said, I have it here. It says, not very surprising the things we're hearing about Babcock. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Same sort of deal with his protege in YYC. Dropped the M-bomb several times towards me in the dressing room in my rookie because he didn't like my choice of music. This says first one too, but it doesn't really need that in the tweet. Basically, if you do enough research, you'll see that Bill Peters was his coach. and that some shit. And then there was 2 players. I don't have their names in front of me, but they corroborated with the statement and said, yes, it happened. We were there.
Michael
blah, blah,
Jordan.
so no, this is two completely different things. So there was 2 that corroborated with that statement, and then it came out. First one, I think the first one that came out was Sean McMorrow, but it might have been Jordan. I'll start with Jordan's because I think that might have been first. Basically, Michael Jordan used to play for Carolina for a bit, and under Bill, and he tweeted out, he goes, "Never wish anything bad to the person, but you get what you deserve, Bill. After years making it to the NHL," this guy can't speak English worth a lick. Sorry, just kind of
he's from Czech
with that because the tweet is tough to read. He goes, "After years making it to the NHL, had experience with the worst coach ever by far, kicking me and punching other players in the head during the game, then pretending like it happened. Couldn't believe what can happen in the best league. Happy they don't have to go through that stuff on a daily basis anymore." So that was Michael Jordan. It's hilarious. His name's Michael Jordan, but he played underneath Bill Peters in Carolina. Came out with that statement, and then Sean McMorrow. I don't remember where he played for him, but he used to play, I think, in the AH. Either way, he tweeted out, "If you think my Commodore had harsh back up to hear what I have to say about Bill Peters, worst human being to ever coach me, treating me terrible." There it is. Treating me terrible in an AHL team, the Ice Hogs, where I won a league award for community service. So Sean McMorrow was kind of like he was a career journeyman in the AHL, essentially. Like he was there a while, and he apparently Bill Peters just treated him like shit, which I mean, it happened. Basically, what this has done, though, is it's starting to bring forth the culture issue that's standing in hockey, and I'm assuming you've seen it a little more than I have. I didn't play a lot of high-level hockey, so I mean, I didn't really get a taste of it as much. The only story I have is more of a funny one than the guy. I had one coach one time. You ever seen when you take a can of Axe and you spray it through a lighter and it like throws like a blow in a dressing room, and he like pointed it at this one kid and like chased him out of the room with this fucking blowtorch axe thing? That's like the closest thing I have to like anything of those, which is, it's not bad. Didn't traumatize me, didn't traumatize a kid, but like it happens, man. Like this dressing room stuff is real, and it's a rough situation if you're the Calgary Flames.
And I mean, I think the new big one on Peters, you kind of touched on it there with Jordan, was that it was physical abuse. It wasn't just verbal. He would, right where we were just talking about Bortuzo cross-checking guys, he hoof guys, just like absolutely toe punt them on the bench there. Yeah. He was known for hitting guys like a full-on punch to the head, stuff like that.
There was one guy, I forget the name, but there was one guy that had a concussion, like was just coming back from a concussion, and he hoofed on the back of the head. And I'm like, coming from a guy that's had numerous concussions, like I know that if you get hit again quick, you're going back down, because it's happened to me like 3 times. And I feel so, yep. My memory's toast. I don't know if you noticed, but no, he like he not to see that, it's like, man, that's just ruthless. Since we started this podcast, though, just real quick,
apology.
Bill Peters actually put out an apology. Yeah, so it came out just as we began. Do you want me to read? I might as well read it. I mean,
yeah, give her.
Why not? So it was to Brad Tree Living, who's the GM of the. Is a sincere apology to you and the entire Calgary Flames organization for offensive language I used in a professional setting a decade ago. I know that my comments have been the source of both anger and disappointment, and I understand why. Although it was an isolated and immediately regrettable incident, I take responsibility for what I said. The statement was made in a moment of frustration and does not reflect my personal values. After the incident, I was rightfully challenged about my use of language, and I immediately returned to the dressing room to apologize to the team. I have regretted the incident since it happened, and I now apologize to anyone negatively affected by my words. I'm aware that there's no excuse for the language that is offensive. I meant no disrespect in what I said, but that doesn't matter. It was hurtful and demeaning. I am truly sorry. I accept the reality of my actions. I do believe that we must strive to act with integrity and to take accountability for what we say and do. This letter is intended to do exactly that. I hope it is accepted as intended. I appreciate the third. It's the right thing to do, and I support it fully. Sincerely, Bill Peters.
All right,
there's a lot to dissect. Yeah.
First one, Good for you, Bill, for acknowledging that you shouldn't write this letter and your PR guy should, because you would have dropped a different couple words in there.
Yeah, that does not sound like it came out of
any coach who says they went back into the room and apologized after they did something didn't. Babcock said he apologized to Marner right after. He didn't. Let's not lie about this.
Al straight up said he didn't even hear from him until
he said he
I think it was
didn't
the
have
next
another
day
conversation.
when he called. Don't give me that bullshit. You're straight up lying. Come on. Yeah.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that, 10 years ago he would have been 50? Anybody who's using that word at age 50 in the 2000s knows what they're doing. They don't regret it. He's probably still doing it. Don't say that you know it was offensive and you didn't mean it, because you said it twice in one sentence to a man of color. You meant it.
You weren't.
I hope you enjoyed your last run with the Flames, because you're done, pal.
You back to your fourth point, I think it was, like, you weren't some young kid that was just learning things and like you're gonna grow from this. It's like, no man, you're not growing. This is you. Like you have no change left to be made. You're an old man. Like, this is, I'm sorry, but you're not gonna change. On your point about them on them firing him, I don't know. Like, yes, you can't have that representing your thing, your organization. But on the flip side, wouldn't they have done it by now?
Well, they have lawyers involved, and they're doing full investigations into it, which I think is what's prolonging it. But he wasn't allowed to coach their last game. They didn't let him on the bench. They didn't let him in the room. He hasn't been able to talk to any of the guys. And I think the worst part, I don't think I touched on it earlier, I started to bring it up, is Rob Brendamore came out and confirmed it. He's like, yep, this is true. He was like this. And that's a coach in the NHL right now, a coach who is loved by his players, a coach that would not do that, hopefully. There's no way you can bring him back. There's no chance you can bring him back. The public backlash that'll come on this, not to mention, they have a colored guy on their team right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been bombarded by questions. And that's not fair to him. That's not fair to anybody.
This shouldn't be an issue. And it sucks that it is.
I think the worst part is just when him and Babcock are going to get hired together in Seattle. Because here's the thing. We kind of touched on it there. Hockey culture, it's the whole culture. It's not just one guy.
Can I addendum for a second? Are we still confident that Jess Allen was wrong with what she said?
She wasn't. You and I both said she wasn't.
Oh my God, man! Like,
here's the thing. Like, it's hockey culture. It's always been, and hopefully it won't always be. But there's so many in every organization. There's going to be things that come out, and this has kind of just opened the door to it all here. This is like what Carcillo's been trying to go on about for years, and he's just been outcasted by everybody in hockey. Everybody's like, oh, no, this didn't happen.
Shout out Dan Carcillo, man. The guy has full heel turned into a completely different human being. If you have only seen Dan Carcillo, the hockey player, if you've only seen Dan Carcillo, the hockey player, go and look at Dan Carcillo, the human being now, because he does some incredible stuff for NHL and the NHL players.
Read his Twitter. He's absolutely advocating for players' rights, for players' mental health, everything like that. And whether it be hazing in junior, whether it be coach abuse, any of that stuff, he's a great advocate for it. And he's been outcasted. And I don't know if you saw the tweet the other day, but NHLPA and the NHL announced that if any other players have accusations that they'd like to make, they are not allowed, by their union, the NHLPA, they are not allowed to go out and tweet it now. They must contact the NHLPA. Let's think about this for a minute. A bunch of grumpy old white dudes who have been using these terms, who have been abusing people, all this, are now the people that are going to say whether this gets released to the public or not. I wonder if things are going to change.
Absolute horseshit. Which is kind of where I don't see Bill Peters getting fired, man. I mean, it's now in the hands of the NHL, I believe, and I don't know, man.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, this is a business.
NHL makes this decision. Fair.
If your manager's doing this at work, you can't.
Yeah, that's fair. It's the same thing with the.
It's not like they're a first place team right now.
Almost got attacked by my light. Yes. No, they're not good. He should be fired regardless. But
Yeah.
I'm just gonna hold this.
And this isn't us being soft snowflakes, all these things that people are accusing on Twitter. Oh, these millennials, blah, 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 blah. All that these old hockey people are accusing on Twitter. This is just humanity, common sense. There's no spot for hazing anymore. There's no spot for coach abuse. There's none of that. You can still have rookies and veterans. You can still have power in the dressing room. Coaches can still have power. Coaches can still get their point across.
Yep.
We're just at a point where it's no longer acceptable for lights to be falling on heads and coaches to be abusing players and stuff like that. Like
somebody's throwing lights at me. I'm frightened. That's probably going to come down again, but hopefully
probably Bill Peters.
Yeah, I mean, he heard what I said and he's just hucking lights at me. I don't like. I'm sorry, Bill. I didn't mean to, man. Yeah, it kind of continues with my Don Cherry thing. I was kind of getting at. It's like Don Cherry got fired because it wasn't the brand that that Sportsnet didn't want representing them. Essentially, like he didn't represent their brand well enough. Took me. That was a long walk to get there, but
we got there.
Same idea. Yeah, same with Bill Peters. It's like he doesn't represent. I mean, hopefully he doesn't represent what Calgary wants or the Calgary wants. We'll see. I mean, I'm with you. I think one thing that this situation's done is it's kind of brought out the real human beings and a lot of different people. Like Zach Boychuk was one of them. He's had some wild takes.
The guy who's been mass following everybody for years.
Yeah.
Now comes out with these takes.
Yeah.
There go your followers, pal.
Frightening. Not the best stance to take if you're Zach Boychuk. Another one I saw was Dustin Penner, who's also been
before you touch on that
open about. You can go back to Boychuk.
Boychuk,
Dustin
Penner. The worst part of it all is he makes all those stands, he says all those things, and then he one by one deletes them, replies to him and deletes them. You can't walk back on your take. The internet never dies, my friend. People have screenshots. I've seen more screenshots of your tweet than I saw your actual tweet. You lose. Good day, sir.
I never even saw most of his tweets. I just saw the screenshots.
They weren't good.
No, the one I want to say her first name was Laura. JT Brown's wife, regardless. He got into a thing with her about racial issues, and I'm like, dude, no. Like her husband's JT Brown. Like he's noted for like that's not something you can do if you're Zach Boychuk, man. He was going off on this other person because she claimed that he slid into her DMs, and he's like, "I'll pull the receipts. There's blah blah blah," and then she pulled the receipts.
Yeah, it's
like, are you dumb? Like, dude, if you're gonna try and go at her, make sure that this didn't adamantly deny this, and then she'd just be like, "Yeah, here's what happened, dude." Just bonehead. Like both him and Penner. Penner's the same idea. Penner was going off. He's hilarious to watch because he preaches like, oh, you should see both sides of the argument, and then as soon as somebody puts out a couple points, he's like, fuck you, I'm done with this, you don't need to hear me. I'm like, dude, what is wrong with you? Like there's like three personalities in this man. I'm like, relax, dude. I used to like Dustin Penner the player. Dustin Penner the Twitter personality is a piece of shit.
He's the anti-Carcillo.
Yeah,
the best part was,
and it's funny because they got into it too.
Oh yeah, Penner's tweet about all these snowflakes or whatever his word was are forcing my dad to burn tapes of when he coached me as a child. Like, you're ruining these moments for us. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute. If he's burning tapes of what he was saying to you when you were 5, chances are he's not a good guy either, pal.
No. Man, I mean, some guy, like, if you're a former NHL player, just stay the fuck out of it, man. Unless you have something that helps the situation.
Unless you're shining light.
Yeah. Stay the hell out of it. Unless you're Dan Carcillo. Even Dan Carcillo is kind of like, you know what, buddy? It's not your story to tell. Let these guys come out if they want to. But like, he's got this whole thing. He's like, yeah, I've got all these guys in my DMs.
I'll give Carcillo credit for that because he's giving guys a voice who don't want to say anything or jeopardize. Like today, I don't know if you saw, he was coming out with a whole bunch of stuff about rookie parties under the Sutters. He was coming out about stuff that the WHL and Hockey Canada was alerted about.
One of them. Because in the argument with him and Dustin Penner, this one person, because Penner wasn't happy that Carcillo was coming out with all these things, and this one person, this is where he kind of snapped, just because this one person goes, well, what if like they gave him consent to release these things, and he just snaps and goes off and starts swearing. People up, and I'm like, holy fuck, Jesus, man, like you're on the wrong side of this, dude. Just not up and admit it. Brutal.
Just to finish it off, I'd say Scott Wheeler, a great Twitter follow if you aren't already. He came out and he said this could be a real tough week for hockey, or a bad week, I think was his actual word. And people took that as, oh, like you don't want the light shone on stuff. And he's like, no, this is going to be horrible publicity. Yep. And what he's saying is this is going to be good in the long run with people shining this light. And I agree. I think the door's just going to open. The floodgates are going to open on this whole hazing, coach abuse situation, everything. I think stories are just going to keep flying on out.
Yep. One thing we literally haven't got to. I forgot we kind of missed this, but the Babcock Mitch Marner thing. Like, the Bill Peters situation got so huge that we almost forgot the fact that Mike Babcock did what he did with Mitch Marner.
Wow.
I don't know if you want to talk about it. It's a ridiculous situation. Essentially, Mike Babcock went to, at the time it was reported that he went to a rookie on the team and told him to make a list of guys he thought were the hardest working to the guys he and ranked them in that order. And Mitch, it ended up being Mitch. So Mitch at the time writes it out thinking like, I can't do much. I'm 20 years old. This is my head coach. I'll just do what he says. Gives them the list. Mike Babcock then turns, brings it to the team and goes, here's this list. As I don't even know what the hell your motivation technique for the guy on the way. Absolutely ridiculous. You're taking a rookie and turning him against the team, turning the team against him. Sorry, like just brutal leadership. That's a mess.
Oh, and
you got anything on it?
This hasn't been the first time he's done it. Apparently, he's done it in Detroit. Oh. And I think so. Just to add on, he had JVR and Bozak near the bottom, and he had Kadri near the bottom.
Oh, okay. So
JVR and Bozak were his line mates.
Yeah.
If you're Babcock, how are you not thinking of like what's your strategy here, man? So obviously they were kind of cheesed at Marner. They were kind of cheesed at Marner, rightfully so. But more than anything, they were cheesed at Babcock because you just don't do that, especially to a 19-year-old at the time who's on pace to be like a star in the NHL. And Kadri is actually the one that stood up. He went and talked to Babcock, and I think he was last. I think it said, but he went up and he said, "Man, like you can't do this. Like, what are you doing?" And Kadri and Babcock, I think there was always a bit of respect there.
Yeah.
From the outside, who knows?
He's Babcock's type of guy, right?
Exactly. Yeah. But I think there was a bit of respect there. There's been a couple reports come out in the last day or two that it was Martin that went and defended him, and that's when Martin became expendable. But wasn't that a year before he got traded? Didn't we get 2 years of Mitch and Martin?
That year, no, because that year before he got traded, he became a healthy scratch real quick. So that would make a little bit of sense.
Yeah, it could, and that wasn't confirmed by any reporters. The Kadri, JVR, Bozak stuff was all confirmed by sources.
Okay.
It's just ridiculous. Like Marner
on the same. Sorry, go ahead. No, you go first.
Sorry, cut out. Marner left the room in tears.
Yeah.
He went to his agent and he was trying to demand a trade, and his agent was like, "No, we're not doing this." And I think this whole you go.
Just real quick, kind of like on the devil's advocate side of it, Rachel Dory, incredible hockey mind if you want to follow her on Twitter. But she goes, not to burst anyone's bubble, but this stuff happens within offices and dressing rooms all the time. It's awful, but it's more common than you think. Kind of goes along with everything else that's going on right now. I just thought I'd throw that in real quick.
Yeah, it's just going to shine a flashlight on things. Just because it came out doesn't mean it's the worst. I'm sure it's not even close to being the worst thing that's happened in the last 2 or 3 years. But I would just say, remember this summer when we were all piling on Marner for sitting out, and we're like, "Oh, his dad's such an ass."
Yeah, it makes a little bit of sense now, eh?
Kind of makes sense. Sense. It's just
I would do the same thing.
You can't jump to conclusions. Why do you think Matthews asked for a lot of money? Because he deserves it, sure. Because he didn't like Babcock, yep.
He also has to deal with Hitler as a coach. So, I mean, what are you going to do, right? It's tough. Wow. I really wish they would have came to this conclusion a couple years ago. I wish they would have known about this stuff when it was going on. But I'd say it's 2020. What are you going to do? Are we done? Are we done with the draw of the league, or we got anything else?
I'm sure we're gonna have a bunch more on the same topic to talk about next week, but
yeah.
Let's get to the good stuff.
Oh, the great stuff. The Montreal Canadiens stink, like bad. So their last 5 games, they lost 4 straight games to bad teams. I'm talking New Jersey, Columbus, Ottawa, New York. Bad teams. Blew a lead in every single one of those games. Yikes. Then they go out in their next game and get demolished by Boston, which I think Carey Price let in, I want to say 5 goals on 11 shots.
Yep. That's 10 on his last 30.
Yikes.
10 on his last 30. He's got a 8.86 save percentage on the season.
Yeah. I'm sorry, what?
8.86 on the season.
That's not good.
It's not great.
That's really not good.
All I'm going to say is 7 more years at 10.5. Nick Suzuki is going to be on his 3rd contract before Carey Price is off his current one. Welcome to Montreal.
You're paying him a lot of money, too. I mean, it's not like it's a long contract that you're paying him like normal goalie salary. You're paying him like some of the best in the league.
And listen, I'm sure he'll bounce back. I'm sure this isn't Carey Price for the next 7 years.
No.
Here's a little stat for you.
Yep.
Last November, almost an identical save percentage for the month of November as he has this. Okay. Or I think I said season. I think I meant November. He's an 8.
Oh, okay. I was going to say that's a
sorry. Run it back. November, he's a .886 save percentage, which is almost identical to what he had last year.
Okay, so not
he always has a tough month, and I mean, for the last 3 years, it feels like we've been saying, "All Price was hurt, now he sucks." He's done.
Yep.
He's not done yet. I'm sure he'll bounce back, but wow, Montreal stinks.
Yeah. Look, Montreal fans, I love to see you guys lose. Don't get me wrong. However, it is more fun when that team competes, and it sucks what's happening there in Montreal right now. Because I mean, I like the Leaf games when it can go either way, and I like when they're competing, and I like when I would love to see them play in a playoff series. I think that'd be a blast. Don't you?
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun. Nice Montreal-Toronto rivalry. Get Gallagher and Kapanen against each other. Fun.
I don't want to see any series except the Leafs beat Boston. That's all I want to
say. That's fair. But I mean, that could happen if like we were wild card and like it could set up perfectly that we beat Boston, Montreal. That'd be fun. I mean, it's shitty. Sorry, Montreal. Your team looks rough right now. Yeah. Do you have anything else about the Canadiens? Weber still looks good, I guess. He scored a nice goal yesterday. Tied the game
tough.
up.
They've got Drouin out. Domi hasn't been near what he was last year.
No. Are you shocked?
No, but you didn't think he was going to fall off this hard, did you?
A little bit. I mean, that was a huge year last year. Like, he was nothing in Arizona, which, yes, it's Arizona, but...
Yeah, but also, I heard an interesting thing. Ty Domi actually was on one of my favorite podcasts to listen to, The Corp with A-Rod and Big Cat from Barstool. They had Domi on, and he was saying the biggest thing why Max had a huge comeback year last year was the travel in the East over to the West. Just think about it. Where Arizona is on a map versus Montreal, you're sleeping at home an extra 2-3 nights a week, and he's diabetic, which means he's at home for all his blood sugar maintenance and insulin and everything. So he was like, he just feels rested. He feels healthy all the time now, and look how he's playing. And it's how he was playing in the OHL when you're sleeping in your own bed every night. So
that's fair.
I kind of figured he'd keep it up a bit this year. And I mean, Montreal struggling doesn't help him, obviously, but he's a guy that's got to turn that.
They have next to no forward depth either. Like, their star forward depth, anyways, is
that's
not even there. Like, there's nothing.
Their depth is all like they have 3 lines of third liners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been bad. Drouin's out now.
Yeah.
Tatar's been good, but Tatar, not that I'm taking on my first line anywhere. Sorry. Like,
I mean, Kotkaniemi, Suzuki, Paling, the future could be bright, but right now, There's a lot of better teams in that division.
Sorry, Suzuki. Moving on to a real team. The Dallas Stars won 7 in a row. Is in between the last 2 podcasts. Unreal. Completely turned around their season. They did get shut out by the Blackhawks, I might add. Because I bet them on the puck line, so don't put too much don't put too much stock into the Dallas Stars losing. As long as I don't bet them anymore, they look like they're going to be a wagon.
Jamie Benn turned it around.
Yep.
It was last week's podcast. We were filling out the notes. He had 66 points in his previous 92 games, and I was ready to light him up. And then he went out and potted 2 that night, so we had to take it out. Didn't talk about him. They've been on a win streak ever since until last night, and Jamie Benn's around a point per game over the last week and a half. So he's been buzzing. Corey Perry had 4 points in the first, 2-3 weeks of the season. He was hurt at the start, but he had 4 points over a long span. He had 5 in 3 games last week. He was an honorable mention for start of the week. I considered it, but thought I might get bashed. But Brant,
man, if you can back up your pick, go ahead.
Klingberg's back. He was out. Obviously, he's a stud back on the blue line. Him and Heiskanen, 2 of the best young D in the league. Like, just dynamite.
Heiskanen's hurt now, right?
I think so. I hope not.
Pretty sure he went out.
God,
I don't know if he's out. We could probably mention that. I forgot that was okay. No, the team's good. They have always had that forward depth. I think bringing in guys like Joe Pavelski helps. Corey Perry's a big. No, I thought he missed a game.
Maybe he missed one, but he's in their lineup for tomorrow.
Maybe it might not have been Heiskanen. I could be way off on that.
Was out. That's maybe what we're talking here. Anyway.
Okay, either way. Team's good. They're looking good.
Right division.
The one team, the one team that's looked good for most of the year, and I still don't want to give them credit for, has a damn good goalie in their net in Mikko Koskinen.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm reluctant to give him a ton of credit because he's done this, and he had a really hot start last year, and it got him a stupid contract.
Thank you, Chiarelli.
Yeah. I mean, good for him, I guess. He's 9-1-2, 245 goals against average with a 920 save percentage. Those are really good numbers. I'm not going to shortchange him, but let's see if it lasts. And this has been my theory with the Oilers all season so far, is that, like, that's great. You have 2 guys scoring 75% of your goals. I mean, hey, that's great. But let's see if he holds up. If he does, good for him. Maybe you'll drag that shit team into the playoffs and maybe you'll drag them into the division lead. I don't think they can hold this for a playoff run.
Me either.
But you got a goalie.
I mean, they've got a goalie who's playing good. To me, they're the fun Islanders. I don't think they're going to do this, but at least they're fun.
No. Yeah.
McDavid and Draisaitl are a joke. Like, Edmonton, they could do some damage. If Koskinen keeps these numbers somehow and you've got those 2 guys up front, they could do some damage.
Sure.
But I don't think we're banking on it.
I'm not putting any money on them to win the cup. Not a single dime on that team. And if they do, I'll eat every one of those words, but no thanks.
Probably not.
I think that's it for this week's news, right?
We got
nothing else.
Just wanted to touch on Bobby Ryan.
Last week.
He, I think it was right around the time of our last podcast, he was added to the NHL assistance program, which people automatically say it's rehab. There's a bit of a mental health aspect to it, too.
It's a full thing. Apparently, the thing is, too, you don't find out if it was, like, substance abuse until, like, the 2nd or 3rd time that guy's going. So it might not be a substance abuse thing.
Let's hope it's not. He's had a tough go, man. Like, he was a star in Anaheim. He got paid like a star, and it hasn't really turned out in Ottawa the way you'd hope. But even just before that, like, he was one of my favorite players growing up. He played for
me too.
He has all the records there. We'd go watch him every Saturday. He was a star, man. And, like, even at that point, like, I don't know how much you know about his family past, but his father was...
I know it's not good.
His father was very into the substance abuse. He beat his mother, was charged with attempted murder, flew to Canada. He used to beat up Bobby. Like, a whole slew of things, just a tough childhood. It was just his mother. She passed away a few years ago, kind of around the time that his points started falling off here.
Yeah.
And it's something you'd wish on nobody. He just seems like such a great guy. Even when he was getting scratched this year in Ottawa and he was having interviews and press conferences, just such a nice, genuine guy, and he'd do anything for his teammates, it seems like, and that's what everybody says. And you hope he figures it out and gets it back.
I love he did an interview because they've been hounding him about that contract all year long, and it's like it gets to a point where it's like, all right, enough, man. Like we all know his contract sucks. He knows his contract sucks, but they asked him the one time. There goes, so what do you think of it? Or something about like, what do you think of the contract situation? Blah blah. He goes, well, I still think it's a good contract.
Yeah, he's like I'm not gonna say it
he's making money. I go,
so,
yeah, like sorry, I made my money. Like my bad. I mean, he earned it. Like realistically, like he was incredible for those first few years of his career.
First overall pick.
Yeah, he was unbelievable in Anaheim too. Some of the things he could do with his hands, man. Oh, dude, like not full game wise, but like you watch some of the things he could do. Like I remember the one game. It was Anaheim, Nashville in the and I forget it was Weber and someone else, and he undressed both of them like 3 times before scoring. And I'm like, dude, the kid's hands when he was in that part of his career almost unmatched. Like there weren't many people that could do what Bobby Ryan could do at that point with his hands. And it sucks to see what he's going through now. We wish him well. I mean,
sorry, I said he was first overall. He was second.
Whatever. So useless. Trash. Forget everything we said then. What are we here for? No, man. Hopefully he gets it all figured out. I mean, this should help him. I don't really know a whole lot about the assistance program and what it's done for people, but
I just hope he comes back, figures it out.
Yeah. Hopefully Bill Peters doesn't. Hopefully we never have to see Mike Babcock in Toronto again, and hopefully we'll see. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. And have a good one.